printing?
Me. Is it
Turn
loud?
that
Of
stuff
course, the kid.
on. And we're live.
The kid is messing up the
Goodbye.
audio. Of course.
Leave it to Matt.
I'll leave it to y'all to wait till we go live to say something. Jeez.
One gerb.
You had one job. One job.
Yeah.
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
We're live now.
I can see it on the YouTubes.
Oh, really? Ooh.
We got 8
Mhm.
people watching.
All right. You all right?
Look at us.
Got a
I
lot
mean-
to do today. A lot to do. Going to be a busy show. Y'all ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Oh,
You
I was
take a
fixing to
nap
do the wrong
first.
one. Oh, here we go. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 104. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and I'm joined by my host, BJ with Byroms Custom Woodworks, Matt with Wackey Works, the famous Mustachio from the Wooden Mustache, and our special guest today, Mr. Steve I. Steve I Designs.
Mhm.
How's it going?
It's going.
It's going.
Hello.
It's going.
It's better than not going.
There you go.
Weather's been tolerable.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of hot. Just a little bit.
I mean,
A little bit.
I mowed the yard and I slightly broke a sweat.
Oh,
It wasn't like last weekend where I thought I was gonna, kill over because it was so hot.
I definitely woke up
just-
today.
Just a little quick thing, if I could interrupt. I want to, everybody that we have our thoughts and prayers in with the people in the hill country, everything that's gone through, and they're still going through it. So keep them in y'all's prayers for everything that's gone on over there. Anyhow, just wanted to say that and put that out there. Yeah, it's been a low key day today here. Not much, just kind of chillaxing.
Low key week.
Got some
Speaking
stuff
on-
going out. Go ahead.
Speaking on that, Joey, did you see that HEB rolled out 18 semis?
Oh yeah,
for the
they got
supplies?
that. They got that disaster team. They're awesome.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why we love giving them our money.
Heck yeah.
He's awesome. They
I'm
got
ready.
that-
My
they got-
closest HEB is an hour away, so I'm ready for one to get out here so I can start only shopping there.
Yeah, they roll out anywhere. They got generators. They got portable kitchens. They got those people. That company's awesome. They're at any kind of disaster down in these areas. Or anywhere they roll out in the state of Texas. They're always giving back, and it's an awesome place to go get groceries. Some of their big super HEBs, man, you get just about anything in them. Plants, electronics, food, everything. So they're awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, let's not make this a somber podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh.
yeah. You wanna get into this whole beautiful segment? We ready
Yeah.
for this?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Get into that whole beautiful segment we like to call "What's Glue with You." Now, officially sponsored by Boss Dog Glue Company. Definitely like to give them a shout out. I actually used some of their glue today, but I'll get to that. But we're going to start off, per tradition, with our guest, Mr. Steve I. What is glue with you?
Well, thank you. Glad to be here. What's glue with me? Not a whole heck of a lot. Got a few things going on, but last week I got all my slides for my miter station. So I've got all the Sliche Progress undermount slides. I got to go through those. Now the next step, hopefully this week, I'm going to start laying out the drawer boxes in the CNC programs so I can cut that out and hopefully get those going. Also grabbed some new spoil board for the CNC, so I'm currently in the process of laying that out and getting that all cut up and mounted with the fixture. did some testing for our friend Tyler over at Forge 3D with some of his Sys Grip vacuum pods, and those turned out great. Great little product. If you haven't seen them, check them out. I highly recommend them. Yeah, that's kind of the extent of what I got going this week. It's kind of a little bit of a slow week because of the holiday, 4th of July, but that's it.
Right.
Wow. I like the syscripts as well. I think they work.
I do too.
They do a good job tying it down. It's like having a whole extra person holding stuff down for you.
Absolutely.
You know, what was neat about your test is that he actually said that he didn't know about bigger materials, and it seemed like that what was that, 8/4 or so that you were
probably using? Yeah, at least
it.
Yeah,
You have a problem.
it might have even been 10.
Oh,
Because
wow.
that's actually the one of the pieces of Moxenweiss that I'm in the middle of kind of slowly building.
Very nice.
That's
one
kind of
thing-
been on my bench for like 8 months. So every now and then I kind of take it and I say, oh, I really got to work on this. So
There you go. There you go.
One thing I need new is I need a new vise for my workbench because I've just got a cheapie from Amazon.
yep.
I want one of the. I looked at what is it, Andy Klein at his.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's a
That's
little,
when you
little
Very
pricey.
nice.
A little drool over that one.
Yeah,
They're worth it though. They're sweet. I don't have one, but I would love to have one of those.
It's on my list of
yeah,
things
it's
to
definitely
acquire.
on my list.
Yeah. Hey,
pretty.
if you are looking for something for larger material, take a look at a Moxenweiss. They're relatively inexpensive to make, and you don't have to buy the super expensive hardware. There are plenty of other companies
Yeah.
out there that make a lower cost screw vise.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
nice.
let's move it on over to the man, the myth, the face of the podcast, Mr. Joey. What's in the box?
What's in the box? There's a lot of things in the box. I don't know. There's a lot, but actually there's been a lot of stuff coming out of the box.
I saw that.
You know,
What?
it's a little more than usual for me. Maybe I don't know. It's been weird, but anyhow,
You feeling okay? You good? Okay.
yeah. I have been working on some content for some collaborations this week. I got a couple of videos out. I've got a few more to do to get leveled up and be cool with everybody, and working on another one with another company. Oh, actually not. I still got another one coming in. That one's going to be cool. I'm not going to mention it yet because I'm still waiting for it to come in. It's already been approved, and it's going to be a cool one. I'm just going to wait to get the stuff, and then I'll start putting that out. So there's some things coming in. It's going to be cool. I'm going to be busy, and some of the projects out in the shop are going to have to wait, but I kind of need to start saying no so I can get caught up with some of those things out there. But some of these things are just too hard to pass up. So it's cool. Other than that, I haven't had no chance to get out in the shop. Been working on content, trying to get caught up on that stuff and get these videos out for those collaborations. And I'm starting to get caught up. And so I did get to also use some of that Boss Dog glue, but I used some CA glue, and it was actually part of that collaboration video where I was using it to make some jigs. Made a quick little nasty jig, I call them, just to help me do some laser engraving with the Boss Dog CA glue. And as always, it worked great. Actually stuck my fingers together and just kind of the CA type stuff that you do. Stuck the parts of I was kind of pulling a mustachio. I was like, all the times that I've talked trash about it, I'm getting it back 10 times over because, man, my fingers were stuck and my finger got stuck to the material. And then, I was having some fun with it. It works very well, I could say.
Aha.
But yeah, that's been my week here in the shop. So, like I said, I got to get caught up with a few more, and then I will be moving on to hopefully the sustainer walls out there in the shop that I need to get those done because we're gonna have some more goodies coming in, ain't we, Steve? And
Yes,
we'll
we
let Kamani break that because that was we got some good finds last week and can't wait to get that stuff in. Actually, that stuff's gonna do part of that project out there, so can't wait to get it in. But that's about it for me. How about you, Mr. Mustachio? What's glue with you?
Well, let's see. What is glue with me? I've been doing some modeling,
Oh, yeah.
3D modeling.
I
Let
thought
me
it was
clarify that. a little bit.
Thank God.
I was like,
That's
hey.
getting nervous.
Hand
Here comes
modeling.
the billboards. Here comes the billboards, baby.
The mustachio.
You gotta
Like
you
Calvin
gotta
Klein.
Wackerle can't
So-
stay down here. He just gotta go. He gotta just go.
That's what he's here for.
I knew I was in for it as soon as it came out of my mouth.
Yeah. You're like, I messed. That moment you knew you messed up.
Oh boy. But no, I think I finally got a solid model for that Milwaukee trim router M18 holder. Gonna try to make a few different designs in terms of like holding it to a wall. I just have the French cleat version right now, which works good for me, but obviously not everyone has French cleats. And thinking like Omni wall, probably like a wall control, just like a regular screws going through it to secure it to the wall. Just
So-
a few different variations.
Here's the thing I would suggest if you're doing the regular screw version,
Mhm.
just send it with a French cleat.
Oh.
Yeah, just print print the negative,
Mm-hmm.
so then they can mount that on the wall, and then it lock in, and maybe like have it where you could pop a screw hole in the bottom, and they can
Yeah.
secure it to the wall. I think that would be nice.
That's not a bad idea. I mean,
But
it's
wouldn't you
pretty.
have to add a spacer at the bottom because
You would.
You would. Yeah,
You
it would.
would. So
But they didn't
I mean,
have the. Yeah.
That's why I was
I
thinking just a
throwing out
screw.
ideas.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad idea. I just feel like it's I have the tolerance on the router going into the holder pretty good. It's not
Mhm.
overly tight. So yeah, that's a possibility. I don't know.
I will
But
tell you
that's-
that design is awesome. You did
Oh
a
yeah, I love
Yes.
it.
Appreciate
hell
it.
of a job on
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice.
Thank you. Yeah. I ripped that whole thing apart and redesigned it because I was bringing it out of SketchUp and then into Bamboo Studio and then exporting it and then bringing it back and going back and forth, and then like my rotation got weird, and then it wasn't like 90 degrees, and it just turned into a mess. So I had to redesign it completely, and I think I got something solid now. So I don't think I'm going to do any like files themselves. I think I'm just going to sell it. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, well, whatever.
I think the
Any-
Milwaukee folks out there will eat it up because
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
it is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thought
It's
to
a great
doing, maybe doing a version for the DeWalt and the rigid?
So I was just gonna say I'll talk to you about that offline because I have an idea for that.
Because if
Oh,
you
okay.
do, because I'm actually because I've got the rigid trim router, and I've had it for years, and I'm looking at getting the battery powered one.
Hmm.
But tell him,
Okay.
Mustache, he's gonna have to buy it. Just because he's part of us, in this podcast, you're not giving it to him.
That's right.
Do it
No,
live.
just tell them
Do it live.
link in bio.
Link in
bio,
bio.
BJ.
So
That's it.
Yep.
so anyways, moving on.
I'll have a link. Yeah, we'll see how
Oh,
that's going.
you did. You did.
Slowly
didn't you?
Yeah, I
picking
did.
up picking up the shop. I was really adamant about getting some photos taken because I want to sell my remaining Bosch stuff and get that out of the shop and get that massive lathe out of the shop. Also, I didn't take any pictures, didn't make a description, no listing. So there's always next week.
Do we need to send a reminder to you, Mustache? Hey,
That ain't gonna help.
get your Facebook listing.
Dismiss.
He's swiping left.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
But yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Matt?
Hold on.
you want-
I was gonna answer that question.
We'll get to
We'll get
Greg's-
to
I was gonna
Yeah,
tell
we'll-
him we're gonna let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. So this week, I worked a little bit in the shop, cleaning some stuff up, got the bowl finished for the winner for the giveaways that we had.
Sweet.
Just putting my logo in the bottom of it, and should be giving that away by Thursday. I was waiting on a glue pack to come in so I could try it out and see how it works for gluing my stuff in the bottom of it. And then got a lot cleaned up in the shop. Organizers, got my sustainers put in underneath my CNC. So I got all those under there. Got inserts coming for those so I could put all my CNC bits inside the sustainers. I think that'll be a great place to be able to keep them right up underneath there. So I ain't got to walk across the shop to go look inside a different place for them. And somebody changed my idea for that because I was going to put drawers in there, but Steve wanted to say, a great place to put that would be.
And it's sustainer. I know where you
So,
can get some full extension rails for those.
exactly. Force 3D. I had ordered some rails, got those all put in. So they're all full extension except for the bottom ones. The bottom ones are just regular. That way they can just be pulled out because they've got tools in it, a little bit too heavy to be putting. I didn't want to put that much weight on the.
I don't know, man. I got one of those large sustainers,
Mhm.
the sortainer that's got all my screws in it, all my GRKs,
Yeah,
and that thing's heavy, and those rails, not a problem.
really.
I was about to say I've got one that's got T-nuts, threaded inserts, and all the matching, round. I forget what you call the bolts, but they're the rounded head with the hex key. Anyways, yeah. And I bet that M89 case probably weighs 15 pounds. And it does, when you fully pull it out, it sags a little.
Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah,
But
yeah. And mine's even bigger than that. It's the L
dang,
version.
okay.
So
Oh,
it's
wow.
the wider one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I that thing's got to weigh at least 20 pounds.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I had the domino and all that kind of stuff like that. Just with the tools being in it, I just let that be there, and then the ones right above it they're all full extension. So even the 6 drawer mini sustainer set, I didn't put that on full extension either because those just push out. There's no reason to fully extend them.
I agree. Yep.
So I didn't put those there. But everything else is full extension. And then I decided to, I cut the grass and everything, got the grass all cut, and decided to I got rid of my goats a while back. So I got rid of the goat fence and ran out a little bit of steam doing that stuff. My wife came down and gave me a hand, hooked it up to the truck, ripped the rest of the fence out, rolled it all up. And then she says, let's take out these posts. I was like, wasn't looking to do that today, but we got rid of all the posts as well. And then got all the holes filled in, got the rest of the grass cut. And so did that. And then today finished up, got rid of some of the other small pieces of fence that we had up because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but goats are Houdinis.
Oh, yeah.
They will find a place to get out. In fact, and so the fence posts that we had were 8 foot on center, wooden post. And then on 4 foot on center, in between each one of those, we had a steel post put in because they will push up against the fence and wear that thing out. until they can get it till they just leans just a little bit, so it'll jump out because the grass is always greener for them. So we got that taken out of, and then and yes, Jason, I did use some foam pads when I was putting in my sustainers because I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm a little older, and getting on my knees to be able to put that stuff in there was not what I was looking to do. So I used some Harbor Freight pads. You buy them 4 per pack for like $10. Laid those down and kept them in the wrapper and just use those as foam pads. They worked out great. What else did I get done this weekend? I think that's about it.
Boy, I need a nap after that.
And so it was a great weekend to have. You know, I still didn't have to sit there and kill it, but you know, having that extra day kind of gives you a little bit more coasting through instead of having to cram everything into it. So yeah, that's about all I got done. What about you, BJ? Would you glue up this weekend? Anything?
Yeah, actually I did. My wife bought my daughter this, I guess, like jewelry box type thing, and she let her draw all over it. And you know, my daughter is really into drawing animals and stuff, so she drew like this sea creature themed stuff all over it. And she's like, she comes out to the shop, she's like, "Hey Daddy, I've got an L that I want to put on the box. Can you glue it on?" And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's break out the old Boss Dog clear and glue it on. So yeah, I did that. I yet again completely disassembled a lot of my tool storage because I had all the sys racks and everything. And the other night when I was adding the final coat of finish to a table that I had to restore, I had a little bit of finish left in my cup. And I was like, you know what? I've got these unfinished maple plywood cabinets over here. Let me just throw a layer of finish on them. So I started finishing those. Didn't take them apart. Didn't take any of the stuff out of them. Just kind of tried to finish around all the sustainers. Came out here this morning and I was like, man, that really looks like crap. Because it just, you know, you could see the unfinished plywood and the finished plywood and all that stuff. So what are you doing?
Just keep going. Don't mind me.
Oh God.
I'm trying not to interrupt you.
So yeah, I decided let's just take everything apart, pull all the drawer slides out, sand it all back down, put another coat of finish on it. And it's funny because it's supposed to be a fast drying finish. I guess 12 hours is fast drying. I don't know. Yeah. So just like 5 minutes before we got on here, I was able to get everything put back together. Did some 3D printing. Oh, I did get a new tool this week.
What'd you get?
I got I did something I said I would never do.
Bought a Festool.
No. That was years ago. You know, I've already burst that bubble. No, I bought into Team Red. I bought a Milwaukee, and I got the M12 installation driver that comes with the 4 different heads, and I like it. I'm not saying I'm sold on Milwaukee tools. You know, had DeWalt or somebody else come out with that style of thing before at about the same price, I'd have bought it. But yeah, it's nice. I used it. I've been using it all week. I absolutely love it. Got a little 3D printed mount for my wall control for it, and yeah, it's nice.
That's your first red tool?
That is my first Milwaukee tool. Yes. The downside to it though is I had to redo my battery charger station because now I have a third battery charger. So had to fit that in place, but yeah, it all worked out. So,
it's amazing how the battery platforms just keep multiplying.
Oh God, yeah.
As much as you try and keep it to 1 or 2.
Yeah.
you inevitably end up with like 5.
Yeah. And I guess that's not even counting technically I have 5 different battery chargers for tools, because you have the lawn tools, and my heart tools for my camper, and then the shop tools. Yeah. That's probably why I haven't gone anything Festool battery power, because then that's just one more battery charger to keep up with.
Well, that's not the attitude to have.
Hey, you know what? Well, then you got to store the batteries too, because you can't just have 1 or 2 batteries. You got to have extras.
I mean, there is a
Well, you
there
got
is a
plenty of
3D
shop space. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a 3D print site where you can print some holders.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's all. What did I do? Oh yeah, bandsaw. I broke my bandsaw.
Good job.
What'd
I
you do? You
I didn't.
break
I
the
guess I
blade?
didn't break the bandsaw. No, the tires finally gave out.
Oh.
And when they gave out in a glorious way. Yeah, I was making a simple cut into some 3/4 inch plywood, and I heard a weird noise, and I looked up, and smoke was coming out of the top of the cabinet. And yeah, the tire had slid out of the groove and was rubbing up against the door and melting. So yeah, and thanks to Mr. Matt, he sent me a link to some new tires, so I didn't have to go spend $50. I only got to spend about $20.
Yeah.
For a new set of urethanes. Just waiting on those to come in and get that. And I'm wondering if that has been a lot of my problem. I'm wondering if those tires have been going bad for a while, and I just wasn't paying attention. And so that's been causing some of my tracking issues and vibration. So we'll find out when I get the new tires put on. It might run like a brand new saw.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see. Well, all right. Mustache, you got something you want to do?
I do. I want to give all the thank yous to some of our awesome people out there that are supporting us. I will start off with Scott from Willow Creek Lumber, Don from What's Next Woodworking, Matthew from Artigiano Serio, Victor from Wind Designs, and our special guest, Steve from Steve I Design. We thank you all for your support. And if you would like to get on board, we got some cool things coming for our patrons down the road. And you can find our links to become a patron on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTubes. And I want to pass this over to Joey because he has a little announcement that we are going to do tonight.
Yeah. We're actually going to do our Patreon giveaway live. And
Live?
we're going to do it in a reverse drawing. So the last person standing wins it. And according to your tier, that's how many entries you have in the picker wheel. And we're just going to get after it. And maybe we can fill in with some of the upcoming things that are going to be happening. If y'all want to fill in, I'm going to start spilling. I'm going to start spinning.
Spill that.
There we go. Because spilling glue. Come on now.
There you go.
Fill it.
So we do have our. Go ahead.
I'm just saying this is for Boss Dog giveaway. And look at him.
Scott.
High choice. Keep going. Go ahead, man.
So we got the giveaway coming up at the end of the month. I hope everyone caught that. If you, I know Greg asked about it. Go ahead and tag us as a collaborator in your post for any project that you got going on with Boss Dog Glue, where you've used their product, you've used, whether it's the CA glue, the wood glue, whatever it is. tag us in a reel on that, so that way we can see it, and we'll keep track of those posts. And then we're going to do a judging at the end of the month on who's done a great job at their project. So
You will be judged, and you will be found wanting.
that's right.
Shiny.
Poor Scotty. Poor
Scotty
Scotty.
Scotty doesn't know.
Oh.
Sorry, Don.
Don.
Some are still hanging in there. Yeah. Oh, bye-bye.
Boy.
Too bad. So, if you want to have more entries, it's you have to upgrade in the Patreon, and you'll get more entries into the giveaways. And there's going to be some cool things that we'll talk about later on in the show that we're going to implement for our Patreon members. And I think it's going to be a cool thing that we're going to do. We're just going to be, we got to still set everything up. And it's a good thing. Matt and I have talked about it, and Matt's the one that wanted to do this a long time ago. And I kept telling him, nope. And I think we're finally, between all four of us, we're going to go ahead and bite the bullet and launch this and give it to our Patreon members. And it's going to be a cool thing.
Yeah.
And we did something else this week for our Patreon members. We launched our Discord. Thanks to Mr. Steve for walking me through that. I do appreciate that.
You're very welcome, sir.
So yeah, now when you are a patron of the podcast, you get access to our exclusive Discord server. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there, a lot of discussion that we're hoping to have. Get you, a little more access to us. Not that we're not accessible through other means, but it's our little community where we can all share what we're working on, share what we're cooking, exchange shop ideas, all kinds of stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of the community, run on over to Patreon, join up, and any of our patrons, any level, gets access to the Discord. But the higher the level, the better the giveaways and everything else is. So it's definitely worth stepping up and doing that. And that's what helps us keep this thing going. That, and along with our continued support from Boss Dog Wood Glue. So, and the more of that stuff we get, the better. The more of these giveaways and cool things we can do for our listeners, and that's what we're wanting to do. Down to the last three. The suspense.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Everybody's got one entry left.
The way you enter into these is by getting involved, but it's the top 3 Patreon tiers that actually get in the giveaways. So here we go.
Boy.
Oh, Steve, come on now.
50-50 shot.
No
here.
power in the verse.
Oh, here we go. Who's gonna get it?
I think Tyler's
Tyler wins. There you go.
Tyler wins it.
Nice job, Tyler.
Tyler wins it.
Congrats.
Well, congratulations, Tyler from Forge 3D. He is
a little
the winner.
Boss Dog Wood Glue care package. Heck yeah. Based on what I've been seeing in his stuff that he's been posting, he's going to need a little wood glue.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Yeah. I think now's a good time, Steve. I know Greg reached out to us and be able to link the Patreon to the Discord server if you want to just go through it and kind of explain it to him.
Yeah, certainly. So first thing you need to do is be a patron of the Creative Makers podcast. And then the second thing you need to do is you need to go over to Discord and you need to create yourself a free Discord account. Once you have that Discord account, you log into your Patreon account and go to your settings. And on your profile, you'll see 3 dots, and I believe it says more next to it, MORE. And you
Yep.
click on that more. And then there's a section that says connect apps or connected apps. Click on that, and you should see Discord in there. And next to Discord, it will say connect. And if you click that connect button, it should pop up the login page for Discord, where you will log in with your free Discord account that you just created 5 minutes earlier. And once you do that and you authenticate, it will automatically connect the 2 platforms together. And in Discord, you should now see a little circle that says Creative Makers Podcast. And in there, you can see all the different text chat channels. And there should be some also based off of your patron level. Creative Makers Podcast, we've got, I think 4 different levels right now.
Mhm.
And if you're a good friend, I think is the title of one of them, you should have access to the good friend Patreon only channel.
That's
and
correct.
all the other free channels in there.
Mhm.
Thank you, Steve. And
You're
if you have any problems, just reach out and just be patient with us. There's a lot of different platforms that we look at, and we can get the message. The best thing to do is go, if you're on IG, is just message one of us directly, and or do the Creative Makers Podcast, because we have to monitor so many, and we don't do this full time. So, just be patient when you do message that, and we will get back to you. Greg, I knew you had messaged, but I was away from the computers this weekend, and I knew that'd be a perfect opportunity because Steve was going to be on here just to explain it to you. And if you still have problems, we'll get you in there. Don't worry. We will get you in there. And Wackerle, if you want me to, I want to talk about what we're going to implement into that, if you're okay.
Yeah. Bring it up. Let's do it.
So, and we want to get y'all's feedback on this. So what we're thinking about doing is this is going to be strictly for our Patreon members, and it's going to be focused on certain tiers that will be allowed to do this, but we're going to try to bring in teachers, or I'm not going to say teachers. I'm going to say makers of the community that are well-versed in certain areas, and they're going to give live demonstrations talking about how to do certain things, kind of like they're going to teach us. We may talk about hand planes, we may talk about sharpening, a whole slew of different things. And what we'll do is, with that, we'll do these live recordings, and it'll be for our Patreon members. So if you want to get involved in our Patreon, these will be available to certain teams. You got to get all the details ironed out, and we will have that available. So if you want to learn about these different things in woodworking, epoxy, I mean, you name it, we're going to try to bring that in and have a library to where you can revert back to these videos, or if you're able to get into the lives with us, you can ask questions to that person, whoever's doing the demonstration at that time, to get answers for certain things. And it's a good way to put some stuff out there for everybody to learn. If you're hesitant about learning certain things or have a question about doing a certain operation, we're going to try to get all that brought in and do this and provide that for our Patreon members. So, let us go ahead.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great thing that we would not only, you're getting a demonstration from somebody that knows how to do it, or after a video that they may not be, say they're not versed in YouTube and they don't do YouTube, but they did it here. You'll have a video for you to be able to go back and look at, or have a person to reach out to be able to ask questions about. So it gives you kind of a threefold kind of thing. And I think it's very beneficial for all of us, as all of us try to dabble into certain things or anything, or may not be, just because you've been doing it that way for 20 years doesn't mean you've been doing it right. So it may help you. So I think it's a great tool to have at your disposal.
All right, we got all that out of the way. Let us know what you think about that. That being said, we've already covered pretty much all the stuff we needed to. Why don't we
Got all the
jump
admin stuff out of the way.
Why don't we jump
So-
into the topic?
So it's about some shop maintenance. I think
Yeah.
it's a great subject. I know that I myself, the more tools that you get into your shop, you don't realize it, but you got to maintain those. You just want to play with your tools and do your stuff. But if you're not, then you got your tires are going out on your bandsaw or
Hey. Hey, two Brute.
You're waiting for that one. You had it locked and loaded.
it's Friday. What are you talking about?
It's like,
God.
he gave you the French fries and you're just waiting for the ketchup on it, right?
Well, they weren't seasoned, so they're gonna get ketchup.
Ah!
So yeah, I mean, the shop maintenance is huge, and especially when you have different types of shops. So I mean, we have a wide variety of shops here, from how they're located and how they're set up, and different things mean different ways that you're going to maintain stuff. I mean, if you're not climate controlled, you're going to get more where you got to keep track of your table saw, your decks and stuff like that. If you are climate controlled, you got air conditioners that you got to maintain and filters that you're going to have to change out, and that dust getting into them. There's a lot of different things that you got to do. Do you guys do anything like a setup or anything like that, or a checklist of main things that you got to maintain monthly or quarterly or anything?
Not really. Mainly because one of my, I'll say I guess you call it a therapy session, is getting out there at least once a week and just kind of cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going. Also, I kind of look over the tools. Okay, is any of the cast iron got any rust on it? Checking, back when I had the belt driven CNC, checking tension on the CNC belts, stuff like that. My biggest thing, and I'll say that definitely helps with that shop, with the tool maintenance, is just keeping them clean. When you're done using a table saw or, a planer or a joiner or bandsaw, vacuum the table off. Because even all of my cast iron in my shop, I did the carbon method nano coating on about 3 or 4 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And other than adding the glide coat stuff that they make for it, that just makes it super slick, I have never had to redo it. Now, yes, my shop is climate controlled, but the average humidity in my shop's it ranges anywhere between 55 and 60% humidity. So not low, but not high. But doing that and just making sure that, you're not leaving wet wood sitting across your table saw or your bandsaw. Because I've done that. I've had people bring me something and just not thinking about it, set it on the table saw and then go to move it. And I've got a wood-shaped rust spot on my table saw. And, even so much, and I used to not be that guy, but you have a friend coming to the shop and you're talking, and what do guys do? Not drinks. I've never no drinks. I've always been that guy. No, don't put drinks on the table saw. But guys like to lean when they talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've had guys lean over and put their forearms right on the cast iron. And if it's hot and you're a little sweaty, the next day you've got two arm shaped rust spots on your table saw.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's hey, no, don't leave anything on the table saw. I've got coasters in my shop that's what they're for. If you got drinks, I prefer insulated cups. That's really insulated cups with locking lids is really all that's allowed in my shop, because I've had too many, drinks spilled over the years. But yeah, just little things like that. Just, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. There's been times I've come out the next day or a couple days later, and there's a piece of walnut sitting up on edge or maple up on edge sitting on my table saw. I've lucked out because most of the stuff is fairly dry when it comes into the shop. But it's those little things that help make the difference as far as your tool surfaces go. And that's in most of our shops, that's kind of the minor part when it comes to tool maintenance, is just keeping the cast iron clean.
I think it's not only just the cast iron. I think it's just the tools in general. Even if even if it's plastic on a part of the tool, I always try and wipe everything down. Well, I shouldn't say wipe, dust things off.
Yeah.
Whether it be with a shop brush or something, or even the vacuum, and vacuum that tool once I'm done with it, and really try and keep all of the excess, shavings and dust particles and everything just kind of off of that tool as best I can. And especially in my case with a lot of the hand tools, after I'm done using it, that's like before I put it back on the shelf or wherever its home is, I always, take a bench brush and I dust it all off. And oftentimes I'll, if it's a hand plane, I'll pop the cap iron out and, dust everything off inside. And I always try and wipe it all down with an oil, like a Camila oil or a jojoba oil. And then I'll put it back together and put it back on the shelf, and just always trying to keep everything, with a thin film of oil on the hand planes and chisels and that sort of stuff. And same thing with the table saws and, the joiner, planer, all that stuff, anything cast iron. I always make sure I clean it after use, and I try never to put anything on those flat surfaces and let them stay for any length of time, any longer than 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, just because I know that you're going to trap moisture under there and it's going to leave a stain or a rust ring.
Yeah, just like taking some compressed air and blowing out those electric motors every now and then. Bearings. It'll help prolong and the life of those, because I don't care how good a dust collection you have, those motors are still going to get some in there, and it's best just to kind of go blow that stuff out, blow the bearings out. It helps. That sawdust just attracts moisture and just sits there. And even on that saw stop, you look in there and man, all the trunnions, everything is, and it's got some decent dust collection on it, but it still
you're
gets
going to get some in the
there.
body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I found. Oh, go ahead.
No.
I was just say a trick to cleaning out the cavity in a saw stop: turn the dust collection on, and grab your air compressor, grab your blower, and just point it down in the throat plate, and just let it go, and it'll suck everything up. I do that once or twice, once every month or so. And blow, like you said, blow off all the trunnions, blow off, the cartridge, all that stuff. And if it's laying in the bottom of the cabinet, is it really going to affect the workability of the saw? No, but it's that you spend a lot of money on that saw. You spend a lot of money on your tools. Make them look nice.
But what it's going to end up doing is finally breaking down that coat that's in there, and it's going to start rusting.
That is true.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's good to clean that. I'm really surprised that somebody hasn't come up with, and I'm pretty sure some, maybe, I don't know, but they don't have some sort of a hopper system that'll direct that back to the dust port, because it will only suck so much. And then usually on the front corners of the table saw, for instance, that's the hardest one, that it's still packed in there, and you can't really get that unless you do like what you say. and stir it around and get it to move closer to that port so it'll pull it out. And you know, but again, back to the maintenance part, that's part of your maintenance to get in there and do that, because you pay a lot of money for this equipment, and it's good to get in there and blow it out with some compressed air, and then, you know, coat everything down and clean it. You know, there's chemicals out there, or, you know, protectants. And I'm not going to say chemicals. Well, they probably are some sort of a chemical, but, you know, like the Bow Shield T9, I love it. I haven't had to touch anything out there since I'd done them. That was months ago.
Yeah.
And they're still going on that same coat.
So,
Yep.
but my question, I guess, is on that whole thing about having some kind of schedule. I didn't have a schedule. And so I thought I was taking care of all my tools all the time. And then I go over to it and I look at it, and this has got dust all over it, or this has got whatever on it. What I did is I've got myself on a schedule with Amazon for my filters. So every month they show up on a certain date.
Oh, yes.
And that reminds me, I got to go put up my filters. I got to go over here. I'm going to check this. I'm going to check this. And I kind of go through a checklist, my mental checklist, that I'm sure that I'm doing it now, because I had to go do this. I had to get on a ladder to get up there to put my filters up. And it's kind of like a checklist for me to go through and check everything that I've been doing. Because what I was finding is that, yes, I had in my mind, I'm going to do all this stuff, but did I do it this month, or was I thinking about it last month that I did it and I didn't do it this month? So now I've skipped a month, and I didn't go through and make sure that this was cleaned out, that this was taken care of, that the bearing, that I blew out the motor, that I've done all this stuff. And so I just kind of put it as before. So what I do, and I'll just tell you, is before I clean out my filters and change them, I go through and I blow out all my motors and everything. So all that dust is in the air is running through. I use the dirty filters as my collectors.
Clean it out of the air. Yeah.
Yes. And then I change out my filters, put my new ones in, and I'm not blowing stuff back into my new filters.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And so it's just because that Amazon package shows up, and now I have a box in my way, which I know, Joey, that wouldn't be a help for you.
Not at all.
Wow, I have 15 air filters.
Yeah. Wait,
I mean, I got to clean my AC
right?
filters in the shop. Zero,
Well,
well, still in the box.
Hey, well, the boxes wouldn't be a problem for you either. But the boxes for me are in my way. So now it's something I have to do. And that just made it getting on that schedule. And I think it's like $40 total and I got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 filters in my shop.
What
that
size?
I changed out 20 by 20s.
Okay.
So
It's an easy reminder.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I have them 3 on each air filter, on each air conditioner, and then I have 1 on each fan, which I have 1 in each corner, and then I have a whole house fan like you would see inside of a HVAC system
Mm-hmm.
in the center of my table, and it's got 2 filters in it that blow straight out. So that way it's sucking
Okay,
air
like-
in
like
and it's keeping the
squirrel-
dust.
One of those
Yes.
squirrel cage fans. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I've got that's my my main air filtration in the shop, because I have the big Win air filter.
Yeah.
But I have a squirrel cage fan that it's actually the stand my planer sits on. And yeah, it's got the big 20 by 20 or 24 by 24 filters on 3 sides.
Mhm.
And man, that thing moves some air.
Oh yeah.
You get it
Yeah,
running.
I use it for my lower air, and then my fans are up high, which I got that from Izzy Swan. He just
Okay.
put a 20 by 20 in the back of a 20-inch fan. Like you get those $10 fans that you get from Kmart or Walmart or wherever. And I have those in the corner. So it's just moving air, and it's pulling air through a filter constantly. And I think I pay like $40 for filters every month. And I mean, you're going to pay for it. You're paying for it one. Like, I know that they have those, like I think BJ, I think you got one of those filters that sit up in the ceiling, like up high.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're buying a fan for, a filter for that, and cleaning it out, whatever you're doing with it. I just have those in the corner, and they move a lot of air. And then
That's a two-stage. That's a 2-stage filter, also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've actually looked. There's a company that makes washable filters
Mhm.
for those, and I've been looking at getting those. Yeah, that the upfront investment is high,
Yeah.
but it's the last filter you have to buy. Now, I did talk to an HVAC guy, and because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get these for my house," and he's like, "Yeah, don't." He's like, "For your house, the cheapest filters are what you need. You know, they work just fine."
But
Just
why
the
was
cheap.
he against it?
He said the heavier the filtration, it cuts down, it increases the suction, so the motor has to work harder, and it can shorten the life of the motor, is what he was saying.
But if you increase the amount of airflow that it's able to get to, so in other words, if your plenum is bigger, okay, if your plenum is
Yeah.
bigger and you restrict more, so if you go, so that it's a MERV, right? So if you go from a MERV 10 to a MERV 13,
Mm-hmm.
the MERV 13 is collecting more particles than the MERV 10.
Yes.
So, but you have to have more airflow to make it so that it allows it to get to the actual HVAC unit. So if your plenum, you only had one sided, and you were using a MERV 10, okay, which I don't recommend in the house, but MERV 10, and that's what you were using, and all of a sudden you went to a MERV 13. Now you're killing that motor because you're not getting enough. But if you add another side and put another MERV 13 on it, you're allowing more airflow to it, and you're filtering out more air.
Yeah. But that's like for most home AC systems, it's just one filter in the bottom of them.
Yeah, well,
so you're limited to what you can do, and that's why he's like, don't, these super high filtration ones. And I've noticed it, like when I first did the filter box for my my mini split, you see a reduction in airflow. And I think, what's the guy from, was it A Glimpse Inside? He did a test on it, and yeah, there's a distinct reduction in your airflow when you add the filter box on it. But it's like, okay, it's going to lengthen the life of your mini splits, because mini splits are not built to be in a wood shop.
No, because mine was in here for 9 years, and they were surprised at how clean it was.
Yeah,
mine didn't die because of sawdust or anything. Mine died because the coil. They're not made to be run that long.
Yeah.
And my coil went bad.
Yeah, I need to get a filter box put back on mine. So.
And what I suggest, and I've had 3 different air conditioning people come out and look at my things about how big I built 3 of them 20 by 20. So you got a 60 by 20, and you figure out the size of that filter that's on that thing is only the length of it. So it's like 40 inches by 8 inches. That's the filter that it's running. I'm running much more air surface through it because I'm running quilted or beveled filters on it, and I'm running MERV 13s on all of my stuff.
And the higher the number, the better filtration, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything past MERV 13, I've always had a trouble with it because it's the dust that's in the air is a lot. And then sometimes I've had another guy tell me to get construction filters. So you put the MERV 13 on it, and then put a construction filter in front of it, and it'll grab all the big particles, so it won't mess with your filtration as bad. Okay. And those are washable.
But at some point, you're going to starve that motor because that motor is
correct
going to be straining. It's not powerful enough,
right,
to pull that air in.
But as long as you have, so like I think mine is like quadruple the amount of airflow that it's allowed into it that it would normally take. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but it does do really well. And I used I know there was some people saying use caulking around it. I just used duct tape, or not duct tape, electrical tape.
Duct tape.
No.
Tape or just electrical?
No. I just used electrical tape. It was the wide electrical tape.
Oh, okay.
Because it was flexible.
Yeah.
And I was able to get it all sealed around the edges to stop the airflow from coming in around the machine. Because I mean, you can get it close, but you're not going to get it perfect. And I got it seated right on top of it, and it's sealed with the electrical tape, though. Like it's like I think it's like 2-inch wide electrical tape. So I was able to fold it, get it right in the crack, and get all the way around there.
Well, let's steer
So-
back on to the maintenance side of this. And
Yeah,
not
that's what I was going
turn
to
this
say. So
into
what,
an AC
Yeah.
system here.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's
what-
part of our. Other
well,
than
yeah.
Joey's, it's part of our shop. You know, we
Yeah,
like having AC
I
in our
got
shop.
AC in here, and this is my shop. Come on,
Yeah.
I know, but I don't have to run a.
Yeah, you don't have to run dust box in there because you're not running anything dusty.
Yeah.
ever. What about CNC? What do y'all? How do y'all maintenance y'all CNCs? What do y'all need?
Make
to
sure
do?
the rails are oiled and
Mm-hmm. And the
How often do
clean.
you oil them?
clean.
Yeah, he's new to it, so might want to just be a little more elaborate. Than that.
I'll use the 3-in-1 machinist oil.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'll squirt some on a paper towel. Probably every
Rag.
time I use. Yeah, I use the blue shop towels. So rag, paper towel, whatever.
Blue surgical
Uh,
towels.
I mean,
Same thing. Same thing.
yeah. I
I do it once a
as
month.
little as I run the machine, probably once or twice a month. About that, I'll run a cut. You know, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a heavy flattening because there's a lot more dust getting kicked up onto the rails, I will, in between flipping the board, I'll vacuum everything up and then just kind of wipe it with that oily towel just to make sure everything's good. I do know they say like once a year you're supposed to pull the guides out, the bearing guides, and clean all that stuff out because it can get not the bearing guide, the gear for the
Stepper motor.
stepper motor, yeah, where the ball
The rack
gears at.
Ball joint. The ball screw.
all screw.
Ball screw, yeah,
Yeah,
you're supposed to get in there and kind of clean that out about once a year, depending on how much you're using. Now, if you're running that thing 12 hours a day, you're probably doing that once a month.
And the other thing is it based off of how good your dust collection is as well.
Yes.
So if you're just sitting there doing, great shots and this, that, and the other, and you're not keeping your dust boot on, especially MDF, you're probably going to clean it a lot more.
And that's what I was saying. Like if I'm running surfacing cuts, I'm cleaning it more. But if I'm just doing standard cuts, and I've got the Rowdy Roman dust boot, if I'm just doing regular, with a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch bit, there is zero dust on the wasteboard or on the project. So I'm not worried about it. I'll clean it once a month. And that's more just, let me vacuum it off and just kind of run this rag down the rails and just make sure it's oiled, because it doesn't need to be dripping wet. It just needs a thin coat of oil on it. Clean around the spindle, because I've got the air-cooled spindle, so I'll blow the motor out just from dust settling in it from other stuff. That's it. Yeah.
What about like blades, router bits, everything else? Do you guys pull those out of your saws and stuff and do those routinely or when it needs it?
Go ahead, Matt.
So my table saw, I have the which I have not. I'll tell you what I usually use because I haven't pulled it out of the box yet, which is the micro jig cleaning station.
Yep.
I have not pulled that out of the box yet, but that looks very interesting because it's very similar to what I do. What I do is I have put a 5-gallon bucket lid on the top, and I put the cleaning solution in it, and I clean that. It's perfect depth. It's not too deep. It works great, and I just use a brush. And I usually use a hard. It's not a metal, but it's a
brass brush.
Brass brush. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what I use to clean off the pith. And I just get it all nice and cleaned up, and then inspect the all the carbides to verify there's no chipped carbides, that they're still sharp. They're got a good angle on them. And then if not, I use the force blades. So I just send them back to be sharpened if they're bad.
What solution do you use?
I use it's called Purple
Power.
Yes, I use
Yep,
Purple
I've used
Power,
that.
or the other one I use, and it's not. A lot of people don't realize it's called Awesome. That's the name of the
LA Awesome.
LA
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Dollar General.
Dollar Tree.
Dollar what?
Dollar
General.
General.
Dollar
General.
General.
Central.
No, it is sold exclusively by Dollar Tree. But yes,
You're making up
it's
your
big
own
in the
words
it's
over
big in
here.
the laser community because it's
I
great for
love
cleaning.
Awesome. It's great. It's a great cleaner. It's not necessarily considered a degreaser, but it does have a good degreaser in it.
Yeah.
But if it's really bad, I'll use that purple stuff. And then I have 2 jugs, and the other one's Awesome that I use. And it's a great cleaner.
And those are all
Yeah.
safe for carbide for the brazing.
Sure.
I don't know.
I have not done the research on it, but it's in there for 20 minutes while I'm cleaning
Yeah.
it. It's take off. I rinse it off, clean it all off, dry it before I'm using it again. And I got 3 or 4 of them, so I have them stacked up, ready to go.
I used that purple power on my honeycomb for my laser, and holy moly, that honeycomb was dirty. Yeah, I did a few soaks with that honeycomb, and it got way cleaner.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I used Simple Green on my honeycomb and the pressure washer, and that was night and day.
Yeah.
You never used
Pressure
pressure washer on the? Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
What did
Now-
you use,
now-
BJ? What did you use?
Simple Green.
Simple green or pressure.
So I've got
wash is what I got me.
I've got
I've
a-
never done that before.
So you know the foam cannons that you get for detailing cars that you hook
Yep.
up to your pressure
Yeah.
washer. I have a handheld pump, just a pressure tank foam
Mhm.
cannon that I keep Simple Green in, and I use it to clean my grill, to clean lawnmowers, everything like that. And it's nice. It puts out a nice frothy foam. You coat the honeycomb grill in it. You let it set for, like Matt said, 10, 20 minutes.
Mhm.
And then you hit it with a lower, you're not using like the 0 degree or like super high pressure. And I think my pressure washer is only like
Pitching it.
1800 PSI or something.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, when you're doing this and your kid volunteers to hold the honeycomb, even though you're spraying into it at an angle, the honeycomb will redirect the flow of the water.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And luckily the pressure is so low, and with the redirecting the angle, there's no cutting force. But yeah, it will soak a 9-year-old if you're not careful. So
Not a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old though.
a 9-year-old. Yeah, if they're 10, they're safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Dad. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Maybe you should stand to the side. But so you talk, cleaning saw blades and stuff. I use Simple Green.
Yeah, I do too.
And I've been told, oh, your carbide teeth are going to fly off and hit you in the face. I'm like, I've been using it, like doing that for 10 years.
I'll wear a face shield.
Yeah, same. But I
And
have
Why
heard
would
that
they
the
fly off?
Supposedly Simple Green it's detrimental to the carbide brazing. Now I run the stuff that I use to clean that stuff. The ratio is so low. I'm not doing a super heavy ratio of Simple Green to water. I think it might be a 10-to-1 ratio. Maybe.
Hmm.
I'm betting if you soaked it in pure Simple Green, yeah, it would probably eat away the brazing. I don't know.
So my
You're gonna have a
understanding
bad
is
time.
that the green, Simple Green, can be detrimental to the brazing. However, the purple is specifically designed so it does not damage
Oh.
the brazing.
Okay.
That's what I was recently told when I posed that question on
Okay.
another forum.
I know
'Cause I had
the
the same question.
I know the green is stronger because in like the drag racing world, it's actually against the rules to clean your tires with Simple Green because it will actually help increase the stickiness of the tire. But anyways, I've had no issues with it, and I clean my carbide router bits. Though for me, most of the time router bits they're expendable.
Yeah.
If they get bad enough, I'm just, because I tend to use cheaper router bits. Now I have been getting some stuff from Bits and Bits and stuff like that. CNC bits, since I don't cut a lot of pine, I'm not getting a lot of that
Pith.
stuff, the pitch
Yeah.
built up on it. And that's the one thing I have noticed since switching, getting away and using more hardwoods. I don't have to clean my saw blades near as much. Now there are still some, depending on what you're using, that you're going to get the pitch on it. And I use CMT blades in my table saw, and I absolutely love them. I don't know if they offer a sharpening thing for them, like some of the other brands, but as cheap as the blades are, I mean, they're $50 a blade, and the blade will last me 3 years.
What do they charge, Matt, to sharpen? Like if you send
free.
With
free
Forge?
for the lifetime of the blade.
Oh,
really?
okay.
So if you buy a what brand is it?
I think it's Forced is was the one I got there. I got two different.
Woodworker.
Yeah, and the other one is a rigid something.
Ridge
But it's
carbide?
not.
Force
Yeah.
doesn't charge you, even if they got to replace carbides.
I've never been charged yet. Let's
Huh.
put it that way. So
If you buy a good blade, a lot of the companies will do a free sharpening and replace any bad teeth.
Mm-hmm. That's why I bought the blade. It was $125. I think it was at the time I bought it.
Not no
Yeah.
more. Those
No.
things are about
No.
$200.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
I
if you're
think
getting
Ridge
free,
Carbide is the other one that does that too.
Those
you
are the
can
two
buy
that
a
I was
blade for
recommended.
life.
King's Fine Woodworking is the guy that recommended those blades. But he's buying his was a 13-inch table saw.
oh,
Is what he was
grief.
running. Yeah.
Dang, that's a big blade.
Spinning
Yeah,
wheel
it
of
is.
death.
Yeah.
Heck, the one I want is the Watkins, and it's got a 16-inch. Of course, you can't buy those anymore because they don't make them anymore.
I might find one day.
Just let me know if you find one.
But shop maintenance and tool maintenance, I mean, we've all got vacuums. I will say an investment in for your vacuum system, you can get a 50-foot shop vac hose for about $70 on Amazon. And in my case, I can reach every corner of my shop with that. And allows me to clean all my tools. I can drag it out the door, vacuum the cars out. It's a wonderful thing. Just so it makes it easier, so you're not lugging the vacuum around. And the easier it is to do something, the more we're apt to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I think one step further from that, or closer, I guess, for the first less shop maintenance is the dust separator. Anything that you're using, make sure you're using a dust separator because it saves the material, most of the material from getting to the actual vacuum itself, the motor, the everything.
Yep.
Filter.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And have some sort of warning device.
Yeah.
Don't overfill the drum.
Yeah. If
Never
you
done
fill
that.
if you fill that bucket, you're gonna have you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. It's never happened before to any of us.
And the bad thing is, if you're not paying attention, by the time you realize that it's overfilled, it is way too late.
Yes.
Once you start seeing those things come into, if you have a clear plastic bag underneath the filter, and you start seeing that stuff, the sawdust in there, it's like, oh God.
So years ago, a buddy of mine down the road, he's what I would consider more of a fine woodworker. He'll spend a year on a project because he loves to do, he's a hybrid woodworker. So he does a lot of hand tool stuff. So he does, a lot of hand cut joints and everything. And before I had my bandsaw, I needed to resaw some walnut and maple down. And he said, yeah, come out to the shop. Because he had the 14 BX, I think.
1412.
1412 BX.
Yeah, because I've got the 1412. He had the one with a brake on it. And he said, yeah, come out to the shop. We'll hang out and we'll cut some wood down. And we're getting everything set up and getting ready to do it. And I look over and he had the Harbor Freight dust collector with the bag top, the filter bag. And I had, and I had the same thing at the time. And I was like, man, how do you what'd you do to get that filter bag to stay inflated all the time, even when the motor's off?
Don't empty it.
Never empty it.
He's like, I don't know, it just stays like that. And I walked over and pressed it and like just stuck a finger on it. And I was like, wow, that's really stiff. And he looks over, he goes, oh crap. And that's when we noticed the plastic bag was completely full. So what turned into a 10-minute project of resawing a couple boards of walnut and maple down turned into an hour of let's disassemble the dust collector, clean out the filter bag, everything else. And he's like, man, I've been using this for about 2 weeks. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, just imagine when he turned it on, all the pipes were full of freaking solder.
Yeah, well, he had at the time he had one pipe that he was moving tool to tool, and he said he had been running his joiner all weekend, the last weekend, so that's probably what it was. Because those joiners and planers, they just create a ton of chips. Yeah. But I was like, man. He's like, yeah, I've done that a time or two.
That was, I think that was, upgrading to the filter box and all that kind of stuff like that was the reason. Because I'm kind of lazy when it comes down to doing all that stuff. So having a filter box so I could clean everything out and maintenance the filters, because I didn't want to take them outside. I didn't want to disconnect all those things, pull them all down, put it out and blow it. No, I didn't want to do all that. I wanted to hook up a shop vac up to the bottom of it and just be able to blow those in place, and then you have to disconnect everything. I think that was I designed it because I was lazy.
One of these days I'll have something cool like that.
One of these days.
Yeah. And see, my biggest thing with the
have a
dust
website
collector,
that you can go buy that at. Just saying.
I have the filter. I just need the filter box design.
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm talking about.
But no, I mean, designing that was the reason for it. That was the reason for it, is because I was lazy. But I was doing the middle of maintenance, and I'm out there blowing out an air filter, and I had two of them at the time. I had one on top, one on bottom, and it was ridiculous. And I actually went to I went to go clean out the filter, and I went to take the small bag out of the bottom of it, and it fell, and all the dust went in my face.
Oh, yeah, I had that happen.
Yeah, I'm done with this. And I went right inside the house, and I designed it, came out and built it, and I was like, "That's what's happening." Yeah.
Well,
anything that you maintenance wise that you do in your shop that you want to share?
Yeah, I think I already touched on it. It's mostly once I'm done with a machine for the day. I also try not to leave the shop a mess at the end of each day. I always try and at least vacuum everything up. There are occasionally days where, you work late and you're going to come right back in the shop in the morning. So, you don't clean everything up, but it's just trying to keep everything as clean as possible along the way, and don't allow the mess to build up. I also like at the end of the day to just take a couple of tools that might be laying on the bench and just put them away. 5 or 10 things at the end of the day, put them away, wipe them down, and it just keeps everything a lot cleaner, a lot easier. I don't have a shop that is detached from my home. It's actually in my basement. So I kind of always try and keep that in mind. I'm always running dust collection. I'm always vacuuming things up. I'm always trying to keep the mess at bay. So, and like I said, with the tools, just wiping them down, vacuuming them off. That's pretty much the most part. Once a year, I'll go through definitely and kind of retouch up all of the cast iron surfaces. I'm always looking at them as I'm using them to see if there's any issues that need to be addressed, and I'll always address them at that point. But it's just, trying to keep everything as clean as possible.
Yeah.
Helps, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to one of your points, Steve, I think I think Pete from Petrie's said this at one point. At the end of the night, clean up your shop, pretending that someone new is coming into the shop tomorrow to take over your
That
job.
was, yeah, he got that from Adam Savage. That was an Adam Savage quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I try to do that. I mean,
we all do. Yeah.
I've kind of gotten to a point where, if the shop's going to be a disaster through a project, like, minimize it as much as possible. But when I finish that project, I will just do the whole shop. Just like, let's get everything back together, and before we start something new.
There's definitely a deep clean after each big project to make sure everything is reset.
Mm-hmm.
I find just like putting up your drills and stuff like that, because there's times like I won't, and it's like, okay, I need my impact. Where is it? I know it's in the shop,
right?
And of course it's on the far side of the shop behind something. And so if you just hang them back on the hooks, I think we've all got remote switches on our battery chargers. Yep. So plug in the battery that you use that day, and let it charge for a little bit and turn the charger off.
Yeah, years ago, I worked in the medical field, and one of the sayings that they always had was cleanliness is next to godliness. Mm-hmm. And that was drilled into everybody's head. So that's always something that stuck with me. So that, in concert with the shop organization, just, that home for everything and everything in its place, mm-hmm. That really helps keep things, clean and maintained. And at least it helps me notice when something is not right. If I'm using the miter station and the saw is not sliding as smooth as it should be, I always wipe down the rails after I use it, but now I know it's time to take out the dry lubricant spray and spray down those rails, right? Yeah. And do that once a month, once every couple months, as as it needs it. So yeah, I'm not a checklist kind of guy. I don't have a big checklist that I go through every month or every quarter or every year, but I just try and stay on top of everything while I'm in the shop.
I want to know how you guys get down to one project at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I have a small shop, so I don't really have a lot of room.
I just leave everything in the box.
So you said you use dry lube on like your miter saw and stuff.
Yep.
And that's because it, the dry lube doesn't allow sawdust to stick to it.
Correct.
I see these two laughing. This is a serious conversation. I'm being serious.
I'm ignoring the children.
We'll put Matt back in the stage.
Yeah, talk among yourselves. So here's what I'm thinking, because I use a 3-in-1 machinist oil on my CNC, and that's the worst part about it is every speck of dust sticks to those freaking rails.
Yep.
I might reach out to Onefinity, or if you want to, or if anybody in the chat or in that listens to this podcast knows, I'm almost wondering if we could start using a dry lube on those rails versus. I was
kind of surprised you said you use 3-in-1 on that.
Well, so that's what they've always recommended. Yeah, that's what is recommended. Is that
like on the ball screw or on the actual?
No, on everything.
Everything.
They recommend that 3-in-1 on everything. But to me, it makes it attract every freaking speck of dust.
Yeah, it's because it's oil. I mean, oil is always going to attract dust.
Yeah, and it's aggravating because I feel like I have to clean it more because of that. So I'm wondering if going to some kind of dry lube, because I've even switched to a dry bike chain lubricant for all our bicycles, and that has helped keep the bicycles so much cleaner since we've gone to that versus a silicone based or an oil-based lubricant, because the dry lube is a silicone-based, isn't it?
No, you don't want.
it-
Well, I don't use the silicone-based one, and
Okay.
off the top of my head, I'm forgetting what the name of it is. Something, I think it's something 2000.
Okay.
Is the name of the lubricant, but it is specifically not a silicone-based.
Okay.
Because that will
The silicone base is what will attract everything.
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Moisture.
Static.
No, a silicone-based lubricant
Which one is the
won't
one?
attract
Just-
lubricant
'cause
or attract
WD-40
moisture.
is not good to use.
No,
No,
because
that's
WD-40 is not a
water-based.
lubricant.
No, it's a
Water.
water base. It's water based.
It's WD-40. It stands for water displacement. It is
Correct.
not a lubricant. Now they do make a lubricant now
They
in
do.
the WD brand, but WD-40 is not a lubricant.
They also make a silicone lubricant, a dry lubricant.
Yes.
Yeah.
A garage
do
door
make
lubricant.
Yeah.
I love WD's garage door lubricant. I use that on my garage doors. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research on that, because I wonder if using a dry
Yeah.
lube would be better for those rails.
I want to
But
say
again-
it's like PM 2000. Is
That sounds. I think that's what
I
I've
think that's
I've
what it is.
seen.
PB Blaster makes a dry lubricant as well.
It
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a
I-
ton of companies out there
yes.
that make it.
Yeah, I think just about all of the major companies make like 50 different lubricant types.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
there's
But yeah, PB Blaster
KY
originally
has
got
a
its
lot,
start
too.
from, the penetrating oil based stuff that would
You're welcome,
crack
Tony.
through the rust.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Stop messing with your mic, youngin.
It's like it's his
Sorry.
first day
He
on a
got
podcast.
nervous because he said a little deal, and then he's over there.
ADHD kicked in. Sorry, I got distracted by a flashlight.
Shiny object squirrel.
Yeah,
Well, I gotta tell you what, for the chat, anybody that has a shop maintenance thing that they do, hit us up on Instagram on it. I'd like to know. I'd like to, or actually make a comment down below when this is over with, and tell us what you do for your shop maintenance, because I'd like to know.
I'm very surprised that you two Excel spreadsheet enthusiasts over there don't have some sort of.
I didn't bring it up, but
No,
it's part of
because
my monthly
y'all
checklist.
talked
Well, he was
always
sitting
have
all
you
around
and,
it.
you and Mustache fighting over who has the best Excel spreadsheet. I'm surprised y'all don't have it linked to give you a freaking alarm or something.
So if it goes like a day past its due date, does the cell turn yellow? And then all of a sudden, if it's
7
3
days
days
it turns
past,
red.
it
I
turns
know,
red.
They like to battle
I mean-
it out with Excel spreadsheets sometimes.
it
Like,
sends them an
mine's
alert.
Better. No, look at this one.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we're
These cells
getting
are gray.
I added another box. Add another. Oh, a cell. It's called a cell.
It is a cell.
Boxes. It's just a bunch of boxes.
That's what I think.
What
It's just a bunch
boxes
of
are there?
boxes.
That's why Joey. Do you think Joey would love it? Look at all the boxes.
Can I open it?
Nope, I let him marinate.
Alrighty then.
Friends like this.
Yeah. Never a dull moment.
No.
Wow.
You gotta watch what you say.
Well, I have to say also before we leave today, congratulations to Tyler for winning the Boss
Yes,
Dog
Yeah,
Blue.
congratulations.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, little golf club.
Yeah.
Now maybe he can make something in his shop to enter the competition.
I'm telling
Oh,
you.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to all those that aren't patrons, go join up. I am after this, since we had this tool maintenance thing, I think I might create a tool maintenance chat in our
Ooh.
Discord, so we can all share tool maintenance ideas in the Patreon, in
There you
the
go.
Discord for our
Oh.
patrons. So
There you go.
yeah, if you want to be part of that chat, come on over.
Give us your money.
Hey,
Link in bio.
don't be a freeloader.
Anyhow. Well, how about we end it on that?
Alright.
Put a bow on this.
Mhm.
Stick a fork in me, I'm done.
But anyhow, thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight. congratulations to Tyler for winning the Patreon giveaway for this month's Boss Dog sponsored giveaway. And please remember to turn in your entries, tag us on IG, collaborate with us, and that way we know. Please remember to head on over to iTunes or Spotify, leave us a review, leave us a comment. And remember, if you have any kind of question or want us to talk about something specific, email us at creativemakerspodcast@gmail.com. Direct all your questions to BJ.
All the problem questions.
Couldn't get to it fast enough.
I was watching you. I was going to make sure you weren't ready to do it. But there's a lot of cool things coming up. So if you feel it in you to help us out and get some of this stuff and be involved and support the podcast, head on over to Creative Makers Podcast. No. God, why do I always mess that up? At patreon.com/Creative Makers Podcast. And on that note, Steve, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate all your
You're
help.
welcome. Thank you.
JR, thank you for hanging out there and doing the moderation in the chat. And on that note, if y'all don't have anything else, we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep.